Hey, Instagram. Hope you're all doing gloriously today. Bad hair day over here, but hope everybody's doing great today. We're going to have an awesome interview uh, with Dr. Brent Calhoun here. It's going to be glorious. I hope you're all at. Good interview. Oh, there we are. We got Brent right there.
Hello,
So,
Will.
hey, how's it going? We got, let's see, we got you a little dark there.
Okay.
Let's see. Do you have something over your camera?
No. Hmm.
There we are.
Oh, just a moment. How we do this? Oh, there we
There we
go.
go. Yes. There we are. Very good.
Uh, how are you?
I am doing awesome today. Having a glorious day. Yeah, posted grades yesterday. So just finishing up the semester. So life is well. Uh,
Good.
where are we getting you from?
I live in Michigan, um, in USA.
Awesome. And now I guess there is it. It's finally becoming bearable weather-wise.
Well, it's getting up into the 80s now, which um, some people say yay to 80s. Some people say, well, I liked it when it was 70s, but
Yeah.
I don't complain because the weather doesn't care what I say.
Absolutely. And hey, I don't know. I bet in February they were like, when can it be May?
They probably could, but they forget very quickly what they thought.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. No, well, human nature to complain is just to be human.
Correct. And where do you live, Will?
I live in Georgia, just outside of Atlanta. Uh,
Oh, okay. That's great.
yeah. So grew up here. Went away for grad. Well, I went to college here, but I went away for grad school and then grad school again. But home is home. You know. Uh, but I'd love to start. Oh, seeing some love for Georgia. Good. I'd love to start with us today, just talking, hearing your story. I'd love to hear what happened to you.
All right. Um, go backwards. Um, uh, I, like I said, I'm from Michigan. I've always lived here and love it. Love the four seasons. But I went to school at Michigan State University, undergrad and veterinary school.
Mm-hmm.
And then um, I was practicing small medicine, and I had the experience. I, at one practice where I was working,
Mm-hmm.
that this business of uh, doing the medicine and surgery was really fascinating to me, and so basically, I eventually got into that and started consulting with other veterinarians across the United States and Canada. And one of the um, clients I had was he was a specialist, and his wife was a specialist, and they had started a practice here in Michigan, and he started having me consult with him.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked with him for about um, 5 years, and then um, um, he wanted me to join full time and be his hospital administrator. So after some um, consideration, I went with him, and so I thought it was great. Eventually, I bought into the partnership, and I loved it. And I was uh, we expanded. We have had one location in Southfield, which is uh, southeastern Michigan, and
Hmm.
then we had a second one, which was Auburn Hills, which was about 20 miles apart, and then we opened a third, which was in Grand Rapids, which was like 3 hours to the west of us, and so we were doing great, and then um, we decided we were going to open another location in Tennessee
Uh-huh.
because Michigan um, had not really recovered from the 1991 recession.
Uh-huh.
And so we knew that probably with the auto industry was going to be going down and down and down.
Hmm.
So we decided we'd open it up in Tennessee, and um, we we were in a group, a nationwide group with had members in the specialty medicine all across, and we knew one from the group was from Florida, and um, my partner got a call from him just before we were about to sign the lease in Tennessee. And he said, "Hey, I hear we're going to be neighbors." We said, "What?" And turned out he had bought one practice that we um, knew that we could beat them. So we weren't really having a problem with beating them. But when we found out he had bought it,
Hmm.
then it changed the whole landscape because we really didn't want to compete against him. So we decided to entertain merging,
Uh-huh.
and um, and then, but in fact, it was really funny. The night he came up to Michigan to announce the merger with our partners, that night I had the first stroke.
Oh my.
And I guess that was like it was my mind saying it's time to take a new direction. So
Yes.
it happened Wednesday night. I didn't realize it. I was 50, and I thought stroke patients were 70 and older,
Yeah.
and and so I, it must have been while I was sleeping
Yeah.
because then I got up for the next morning to go to work, and I fell, which is really unusual. And but I just got up and as uh, went about my business and got in time to have the first meeting. And I told one of my managers that I was not feeling well, and I would go home and rest, which would be really unusual. Veterinarians
Or not
are
for that?
what?
I said you're not known for resting.
No, no, we're not. And so I went home and I didn't even bother to tell my wife. um, and so I slept for 3 hours or so and I felt a little bit better. But what I hadn't realized was that the first, that stroke had hit my speech center and it took it out. And slowly through the day, my speech deteriorated.
Oh my.
Um, but I didn't know, of
Yeah.
course. And my son had a recital that night,
Yeah.
and so we all went to that. And but I noticed I was talking less and less, and and then afterwards, my wife took my two boys to get some ice cream, and I said, "Oh, I'll see you at home," or something like that. But I decided I was going to stop at the library and get some DVDs in case I still didn't feel well the next day. I'd
Yeah.
be covered. And
Yeah.
but my wife got home and I wasn't home, and she was concerned. Of course, the cell phones were on
Yeah. Not quite.
they were
Not quite there yet.
Well, yes, but we had them. But
Yeah.
so she called me, and I answered her in the library, and she said, "Where are you?" And I couldn't answer her, and I knew I had a problem. Uh,
Yeah.
I knew that I could think of where I was, but I couldn't produce
Yeah, you couldn't.
the words.
Oh my gosh. And so,
So,
so what did she say or what did she do?
well, my wife is a producer by trade. Uh, she used to work for an ad agency, and so she has that ingrained in her. So she quickly jumped into the game of 20 questions and still say yes and no. So she started, are you at Kroger, the grocery store? Are you at CVS, the pharmacy? And she went through, and she finally said, are you at the library? And I said, yes. And
Yeah.
she said, well, I don't know what's going on, but just come home and we'll figure it out. And if I had known that I had a stroke, I wouldn't get behind the wheel of a car, but I did.
And how did that go?
Well, I went home and my wife, of course, had talked with our primary physician, and he mentioned stroke, which I just heard that, but I just said, no, that can't be.
There's no way.
But he did convince my wife to convince me that she should take me to the hospital, to the emergency room.
Hmm.
And and so she, at least she did drive me. Uh, uh, so I at least had let go of driving.
Yeah,
And
yeah, you said, okay, I think if I'm having a stroke, you know what, maybe you can have it this time.
yes,
Yeah.
but I had that. That was back when Blackberries were cool. Or
Hmm.
um, anyways, I loved them because of a lot of the technology it had. But anyways, I'm attempting to email my partners, the managers, and my assistant what was going on, and I didn't find out the email till 8 weeks later when I got home. But it was pretty screwed up. I thought it made sense,
Yeah.
and
But
it caused.
your language was just gone.
Oh yeah, it was a kaboot, and
Yeah.
um, I caused a little bit of consternation with the partners and the managers. But of course, since I didn't really um, check my voicemail, I didn't realize until 8 weeks later I caused it a little bit of angst.
They're a little bit worried about it.
Yes,
Yeah.
and and so, anyways, we're in the ER, and the doctor finally came after I had a CT, and he said, "You had a stroke," and I was like, "What?" Just I couldn't put it together with the facts,
Yeah.
and
Couldn't process that had happened.
no, it just did not compute. And I, I don't know if you've ever seen. Uh, they made a remake of Lost in Space,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and but they have a robot, uh, and he always said that does not compute,
And
and that
that
is
for you, whenever you were trying to, people would try to talk to you.
no. But it was really weird, Will. Um, I could understand perfectly what was being said to me, thankfully for that, but I just couldn't communicate what I was feeling or thinking with them.
Yeah. And did you have, uh, was it this just the speech or was it the aphasia?
Well, it was aphasia
Mm.
for because of the first stroke.
Yeah, yeah. So language was just, there's no access.
No, well, I could I could feel or think in the brain what I wanted to say, but I between there and there was uh, um,
That was
uh,
roadblock.
correct.
Yeah, yeah.
And so they had me stay in the hospital. And the next day I saw a neurologist. The other thing, it was Martin Luther King's birthday that weekend.
Oh my god.
So all the experienced doctors were gone.
Oh gosh.
Uh, they went skiing or whatever they did
Yeah.
out west. So we had a young neurologist, and she confirmed what the ER doctor had told me. Um, and I'm in a bed, and I'm thinking this is kind of stupid. I feel fine. I can walk and everything,
Yeah.
but I so she just said we're going to keep you hospitalized and watch you another night or two.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize what was going on. Um, I have it's called a pseudoaneurysm. It's like a outpouching of my vessel,
Mhm.
my artery. Um, for anybody that cares, it's the my left internal carotid.
Uh-huh.
Um, this it's right on my base of my skull, and um, it was producing clots,
Oh my gosh.
and it threw off, of course, the first took out my speech center, but I didn't realize it was still producing clots. So,
So wait, so yeah,
so
you had the stroke, and then this thing is going to cause more strokes.
yes, and the second one happened either Friday night or early Saturday morning, and that took out my right side of my motor function of my body.
Hmm.
And so I woke up and realized I can't move on my right side.
Oh my god.
And then I knew there was a problem, but they still didn't know what caused it. My wife was going crazy.
Yeah, because she's like, he can't move. He can't,
And it's a lot of people say, "Were you in the hospital?" I think, so what? Uh, it doesn't matter where you are, it is going to happen or it's not.
Well, yeah, and at the end of the day, I mean, were they? Because I wonder. I mean, I similar thing here is like I had my mom will say because I wrote a memoir about my injury, but I was talking to my mom about it because I had two seizures, one at the scene of the accident and one in the hospital. She's like, and I don't know when that happened because the doctors were just trying to keep you alive. And so I'm wondering for your stroke, like, was there more that they were doing and they missed it, or was it just,
Um, it's a good question, Will. I don't know really that there's not anything they can really do
mm,
to except they can um, treat your symptoms, but they can't really. And shoot, on the big scheme, there's approximately 15% of people have a hemorrhagic stroke,
uh-huh.
and with that, they can do something. They
Yeah,
can see it on the CT, and they see, oh, it's leaking blood, so we have to get in there and we have to fix it.
yeah,
So that's great, but unfortunately, I had a ischemic stroke, which means stops the blood flow,
uh-huh.
the clots.
And there's nothing
They
to do.
no, they can just sit down and twiddle their thumbs and just say, uh, let's say, if I had a seizure, they could treat that, but or if my blood sugar to, were to plummet to the floor, they could help me by giving me some glucose.
Mhm.
But
But
it's really
they can't do any. Anything.
No.
Well, and I need to say two things. One, um, just real quick for people who are commenting, I can't speak for Brent, but I'll say for myself, I love you, but I cannot read your comments and interview. I'm sorry. You're glorious, and thank you for commenting. But if you comment and I don't respond, it's not. I promise. I see him, but I can't. Brain injury. So second thing is, uh, well, let me see. I got a low battery intake, so I want to see if it's 20 or 10. Because if it's 20, we're good. So let me check that real quick.
Sure.
I may need to grab a charger at some point, but I'm good. I'm here. Um, but dang, so you're there, and you have these two strokes, and you can't move your right side of your body, and you can't speak. And what are the doctors? What do they do?
Well, um, they attempt to make sure I, um, all my other body parts are working properly.
Hmm.
Like, for example, they were concerned if I could swallow properly, and I it's really strange about the Saturday almost to Friday. I didn't. I knew lots of things that were going on. Like I went on a lot of trips to the X-ray department. I had MRIs and maybe a couple of CTs. I don't know.
Hmm.
And they were because it turned out they were trying to figure out what caused my clots was the problem. And so from the first stroke, sometime around Wednesday night, Thursday morning, to Tuesday around 6 o'clock, they finally isolated my aneurysm, and then um, it took them another till Friday evening until they decided that I could benefit from a blood thinner to hopefully
But
would stop making clots.
mhm. Gosh. And
So
so, how long? Let's say, how long was that?
6 days till they found the reason, and then 3 more days until they decided the way to treat it.
So there's
So it's like,
6 days of hell, I'm sure.
well, for my wife, because it's really weird. Well, before the strokes, I used to worry about everything.
Mhm.
I inherited from my mom, um, and it was weird. It was just I had maybe I don't know. Something shifted in me, and I realized with all the things I used to worry about, the item of worrying about strokes was not on my list.
And
And so I realized if if I can do that, there could be a million things that I don't worry about that I could happen, could be positive or negative. But so I realized I had to let go of the worrying.
because I guess you've realized how little control you actually have. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, which is not some. I guess I would assume. I mean, as a veterinarian, I would assume that you're a very smart man. You're. I would assume that there is probably some prior to stroke, some trust in yourself,
yes,
right? Would that be accurate?
hmm
And
yes,
did you find just a total mind shift?
yes. It was. It was. it wasn't like a one moment when I was, but somewhere over the next 2 weeks or so, I I did that mind shift, the attitude. It went away. Well, it didn't go away, but it reduced my worrying because I knew now I have to deal with this
Yes.
and nothing else. Because my sons were 5 and 8, so they were flipping out,
Yeah. And
and so was my wife.
of course, and then and for you, do you have this place where you can do you still have I guess I'm asking like awareness of like the to go, I need to be dad and husband. I need to ground these people.
Hmm. I attempted to. Um, it's because my wife still worries, uh, even now, 12 years later. So I realize I I attempt to um, not add to her worries,
Uh,
but I realize she she doesn't really uh, listen to me either. So does my mom.
uh.
So I've learned to listen, and that's about all I can do.
Well, and it's I guess especially at that time, right?
Well, yes, because unfortunately, the thing with strokes, uh, um, I was I didn't realize what was going on, but I was probably grieving because I was always when I was um, being in my bed at the hospital, I would say, "How can I go back?" It was probably the bargaining uh, part of the or the denial. I would go, "There's got to be a way," but there wasn't a way.
Well, yeah, in that like in that feeling of like I want to I want to who I was. I want to go back to who that person was. Yeah, a- absolutely, 100%. And I think all of us stroke survivors, brain injury survivors relate. Yeah, because I'm guessing who you were, life was going great. What 4 locations? Right?
They're going to be the fourth location.
Yeah, you're about to have your fourth location. I'm guessing career wise, you were feeling pretty set. Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
I, I had a job which I loved.
yeah, you were every day. You were excited to be,
Hmm.
and then yeah, oh yeah, because okay, then yeah, let's dig into that because I always want to go there because I want always want to talk because is would you say that was the hardest part? Like, what would you say would be the hardest part of your recovery? Was it accepting yourself?
Um, it's really fascinating if I can like the third person who looks on yourself and observes. Um,
Yeah.
I noticed this all had happened, but I began to accept this is what I got to do. So I put my focus on recovering,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I dealt with.
Wait, so you and I'm sorry, I'm just
No,
getting this charger so that I don't disappear. Um, is so you just accept like did you say like okay this is what I got to do I have this I've had this stroke I'm changed but let's recover.
over the first I guess 3 weeks. Meanwhile, my body is slowly responding positively. So I'm starting to, of course, I soon after the strokes, the first week, they give me into physical therapy,
Mm-hmm.
the occupational therapy, the speech therapy. So I'm starting to make sounds, and
Mm.
I'm starting to I don't know if it's the first week, maybe it was the second week. They got me up, and uh, I was walking, if you call it that. But I
Like
was doing it.
limping or like with a walker or a cane?
Well, they had a oh man, the like a harness,
Oh
and
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
kept me with that, and so I could slowly, um, and of course they use the parallel bars, but my right arm didn't want to help, so that was a bit of difficulty.
Yeah, I got left side weakness, so not dead, not dead, but I know that you're just like, and one of these, you're like, you're doing great on one of these sides, Brent. You're doing awesome on your left side is awesome, but your right side was doing nothing.
Well, um, basically, it wasn't. I'm very grateful. People that have strokes can have a wide range of
Hmm.
symptoms, and at least I had the feeling of my right side of my body, so that was good. I didn't wasn't like I stick my right hand in a door and
Yeah,
not feel it. I feel it.
yeah, but yeah, so it's not complete just like paralysis, but it's less helpful.
Yes. And the other thing, um, um, they, I remember um, the it was really fascinating because I'm not much of a nap taker,
Hmm.
and the first boy, at least 4 to 6 months, I was exhausted by the afternoon.
Oh, abs. Oh, like the utter fatigue. And did you find yourself like passing out early at night?
Well, not only I would do it early in the night, but I'd take a nap in the afternoon.
Hmm.
So that was really weird
Oh yeah.
for me.
No, I same here. That space of, and your body's just like, I'm done.
Yes.
Now, and so now for you was, so yeah, I guess you didn't struggle with like the depression. You had the let's get after this, or right? Or did you have?
Well, I will, uh, even today, I will have these moments. I'm thankful they're only moments of depression,
Yeah.
but I will just use I think they call it cognitive therapy. Um, but I will just talk myself out of that and realize one, I'm alive. That's good.
Mhm.
And so let's build on that.
It's a good starting place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I woke up today. That's good. So I'm little things I would never have thought about them or cared about them before the strokes. Uh, now I know that I tell others about it and I mean it.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, and that space, because I think like you have a gratitude for life
Mm-hmm.
because you know what
Yeah.
it's like to almost lose it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I realized um, even afterwards, for like 10 or 11 years after the strokes, there was I lost my purpose. Before, I was living my dream. I used to say, if people didn't pay me, I'd still do it. But I loved it, and then I lost that when I realized I couldn't do what I used to do.
Yeah.
So uh, I knew that I had to have some purpose, but nothing came to my mind. The only thing I knew, I would um, still do my therapy for recovery,
Uh-huh.
and um, so that was important. But there wasn't.
Nothing
I
else.
think I no,
And did you have a sense that did you think you would get back to being a vet, or did you know
no,
this is
no. I There's lots of things in veterinary medicine you can do for a living, but the classic, which is what we all think of a veterinarian, I knew that I already had left that because I was the hospital administrator.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't use my skills, which I was trained in school,
Mhm.
but I used the skills I had learned through the years how to run your business.
And
And
I imagine that's the amount of brain power, or the amount of keeping multiple tabs open in your brain to run a business, and then post stroke. I don't know. Would that be something like having a lot of plate spinning? I'm guessing you were like, this can't happen.
that was what I had to come grips with that. And my the partner that invited me into be full time for the practice,
Hmm.
he was very, very good. And he attempted, and when I attempted finally to go back part time, it was after 9 months after the stroke. Um, um, I attempted for a year uh, to increase my work, but I couldn't do it. And so I did special projects, but that isn't anything compared to what I used to do.
Yeah, the amount of tasks.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, did you find like purpose wise?
Well, it was like I was adrift. So I am like a lifeboat without paddles. I just where the wind took me. But um, um, I I was still in a group in southeastern Michigan, and it meets once a month, and it's talks about the business practices. And I'd been that in that group before. Geez, I think 6 or 8 years before the
Mhm.
strokes. But they let me still come in, and one of the uh, people was a woman. Um, she had uh, developed life coaching skills before,
Mhm.
and she had a podcast once a week, and she kept bugging me like every month. Hey,
Mhm.
Brent, come on, you'd be a great speaker. I said, speaker? I've got this aphasia, and people would have to listen to that.
Mhm.
They'd be there trying to finish my sentences, and um, so she asked for months.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know what was going on. It's probably craziness. I said, all right, I'll do it. I'll be
Yeah,
your guest. And we had a podcast like you, um,
yeah.
uh, but I loved it. And I realized I used to speak before um, for 15 or so years
Yeah.
because it was a way that a consultant got business, one way. So I was comfortable with doing that. And but when I had the podcast with her, I realized that I was shying away from aphasia,
Mhm.
and I didn't really want to confront it. And what I realized I needed to do was lean into the aphasia and and be an example for others that have the aphasia so they can see, hey, he's out in public talking about his difficulties and also his joys. And I realized I could do that.
I love it. I that's because I like part of the part of this Instagram show is to give a platform for brain injury and stroke survivors because it is so good for others. But did you not find that it was the most healing thing for yourself?
It started the process. And the other thing I found that my purpose. And I help other stroke thrivers, that's what I call it,
Hmm.
survivors who want to thrive,
Yeah.
and their loved ones be more successful. And I've been doing that since last August, and I love it.
It's the best because I think like you know firsthand the fear, anxiety,
Yes.
self-hatred, depression, all of these things that is this mountain between them and the life they can have.
Hmm.
And you're like, hey, can I be your Sherpa for a little bit?
Hmm. Yes. And so that is like, for example, I'm posting every day. I'm both at Instagram and
Mm.
Facebook, and it's wonderful because I can look at the landscape around me, and sometimes I post or something that's germane for everybody, and sometimes there's for stroke patients. Um, but it's fun, but um, uh, that's exciting.
Well, it's very exciting, and I think I don't know if you found this. I have found the thing because I write a lot about my brain injury and stroke, and I haven't. I used to do more. I'm gonna get right back to doing more on Instagram. It's this semester teaching has just been like, but my aunt told me because I was like, I didn't know that people would connect with this, and she's like, are you kidding me? Everybody struggles with loving themselves,
Hmm. Yes.
you know. Um, and so I think like if you found that like you're posting these things, but people who are not stroke thrivers or brain injury survivors, they are like connecting with you on that.
Hmm. Yes.
And so how does this compare to your purpose pre-stroke?
Well, it's great you asked that, Will, because it turns out that's really uh, the same as it was for me before.
Hmm.
It's just different.
In what ways? Please expound more. I love
Sure.
that.
Um, well, probably it is my personality. I'm a driven person,
Hmm.
and so when I was into the running the hospitals, um, I loved it. It was crazy when I think about I would do, but I would love it, and so um, it was very fulfilling.
Hmm.
And the difference is this is fulfilling, and um, and
And it was fulfilling because you got to see the change that those hospitals made.
mhm, yes, uh, they can. I could, for example, gosh, towards the end, I think we had, I think, 25 specialists
Hmm.
and lots of residents and interns, lots of doctors,
Yeah,
and all the staff it took to support them, and of course the receptionist and lots of things. But
yeah.
it was fun because I could see all the pieces of the puzzle, and sometimes some pieces would fall away, and I go, well, they needed attention, and the others that was smooth, so I would not have to deal with them.
Mm.
So, but um, uh, it was exciting and also very challenging, but I loved it because I could do, um, like you said, I could make a difference.
Yeah, because I mean, I would imagine that, like, yes, you're running the business side of it, but
Hmm.
you get to see firsthand, like, okay, this person's pet is okay. You
Hmm.
know, I have like the doctors or the vets that are they're here, they saved this dog or this cat, and you get to see that and know that you're a part of that.
Yes, it was um, it was fun because being a veterinarian, I could um, look into what they're doing and I can understand. It's kind of like we look at the um, the business of um, a business that's over here and the art and science of
Mm.
veterinary medicine. But what I found out there there's a in business there's a structure that they are want to make sure they have,
Mm.
and veterinary medicine we learned the anatomy.
Hmm.
There was the same thing, same um, similar concepts.
Yeah.
And then there in veterinary medicine you were concerned about the physiology, and in business they would look at the function. And so, and both veterinary medicine and businesses understood the pathology,
Mm.
and so it was a natural segue
Yeah.
between go from veterinary medicine to business.
And and then and so for you, yeah, you're living this fulfilled life.
Mhm.
No complaints.
There, I'm sure there was.
Of course. Oh
Don't
yeah,
get
yeah.
me wrong, but um, even though through it, it was I was fulfilled.
And are you finding a higher level of fulfillment now, or
Well, I don't know a higher. I just I know that I'm fulfilled. I'm helping others. Um, um, I love that. I I through the post, through the uh, I do a group training monthly, and I'm working on my course, which is, I hope, now, no, I got to say that I got to get rid of that hope. I'm going to get it by the end of this month,
Mhm.
at least a draft. And I also do one-on-one coaching, and all those are fulfilling tasks because what I found is I can write better. I used to write, of course, we had to in school and everything,
Oh
and
yeah,
I used to do okay on the writing, but I've learned that I can communicate with others through my written word, and that comes more easily for me to um, converse better than it does to speak.
yeah, and that yeah that you have found the writing side that you did not you really pursue. Yeah, I absolutely see that. Well, I
Well, it's it.
go ahead.
Sorry.
No,
No.
you.
Well, um, it's fascinating. The process of writing post has become a little easier because I do it every day.
Mm.
Um, and So I'm grateful that I do that because it causes me to words sometimes to come out and or concepts or theories because I hadn't really thought of it that way or
Mm.
felt it that way, and it will uh, it will help my future clients
Mhm.
uh, because I took the time to think about and work out um, the answer.
And that, and I guess because, yeah, you've taken the time to really sort of think about it and really figure out the best way to express it.
Mhm.
Yeah, whereas if you did it verbally before writing it, not so much.
Um, Really, there wouldn't because there's like we're doing live right now. There's no second tries or no do-overs.
That's right.
We talk about it. If we don't if or screw up about something, if we realize that we screwed it up, we can correct it right here,
Yeah.
hopefully. Um, and but when we push our post, hopefully that's our good. Maybe not. Maybe it's our best product, which we have at the moment.
Yeah. Well, we don't necessarily. Yeah, that we really. Oh, sorry, my wife and daughter just got home, and I just heard. Um, but yeah, eh, yeah, and but I think the other thing though, when I that is I find that with at least with the live is that I can't second guess myself,
Mhm.
which is really good versus the writing.
Mhm.
Where you're yeah, because I mean because I would say like that's something that uh, the self doubt that I mean I guess I had it before, but not to the way that I have it now.
Mhm.
Whereas
Well,
this, it doesn't matter if I'm doubting.
you're live.
I'm live. It's coming out. Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's really interesting. I found that the combination both of a um, uh, live session and the written post or video post, at least I don't often use the live version
Hmm.
because I can think about it and ponder and I can attempt to put my best words out there.
Yeah,
And but I realize the live is excellent because two things: when it's done, it's done. It's like the deadline doesn't matter.
yeah,
It's fast.
yeah, yeah.
And the other thing is that it's really uh, it's like a creative form of expression,
Hmm.
um, and I imagine you find the same. Uh, the reason you went live, uh, you don't know whatever is going to happen. You hope it goes one way,
Yeah.
but it may not.
It may not, but I can't stress about it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and then I also find like for me, as I message you, like I I don't like to necessarily do a pre-interview or pre-talk because I want it to be organic. I
Mm-hmm.
want it to all flow. And if it's not live, then I can control it, which is my tendency to want to do. You know,
Yes.
is that same for you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and it's well, and I guess, and I'm because I would actually this well, no, this doesn't work as a segue because I was gonna say that I would say that's actually for me um, an aspect of my one of the challenging side effects or one of the hardest parts of my injuries. But I do want to hear that. I do want to make sure to get that from you. I do want to circle back to that. Like on the daily basis, is for you is the what would you say is the hardest thing that you face?
Well, there's a few because unfortunately, on January 31st, I slipped on the ice and I fell and broke my thigh bone,
Oh,
my right side, the affected side.
oh,
So I spent 16 days in the hospital and then 3 weeks in the rehab place.
yeah.
Um, so I'm still
Sorry.
doing extra recovery.
Oh gosh,
Uh,
I'm sorry. That's awful. So that you are
well,
so mobility for you now.
well, I'm grateful. I'm getting better and better. Like geez, probably the last 3 or 4 weeks, I walk without a cane, and in fact, I walk the dog. Um, in fact, it was kind of comical to me and to anybody watching.
Hmm.
I was with the walker. I was allowed by the physical therapist to walk with my um, walker outside. He loved it, and but I didn't tell him I would walk the dog. And he's a terrier, a 14-pound terrier,
Uh,
and he doesn't care what I'm doing. So he tries to pull off the set. So I kind of go to the one way because he's pulling me. So I have to rein him in a lot. But
so
then I
he
went
hasn't
him
pulled
from,
you over, has he?
what's that?
He hasn't pulled you over, has he? He hasn't pulled you down.
No, no. So in fact, um, I stressed several times to the physical therapist, "I've got that fine. I'm fine. I'm not falling," because
Uh,
he would quit me. Have you fallen? I said, "No, not since the
that's been
break."
not
um,
since the ice. Yeah.
yeah,
Not since.
but
Go ahead.
but anyways, with so I'm doing like 4 weeks. I've been walking without the cane, and it's great. And I don't have any worries about falling or anything like that.
Yeah.
But people that are often looking at me, maybe they're worried, but I just figure I'm gonna stay upright. If I fall, oh well.
You fall. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. So I mean, and then I mean, and I, but I totally understand I guess, yeah, the mobility as an aspect. Um, yeah, no, because yeah, I was in a wheelchair, walker to cane, um, and I got cane free, and then my wife encouraged me to go start using a cane again. Um, well, she's like, you walk. We got married in 2019. I have been cane free for 11 years, or yeah, about 10 years, and then she's like, you walk better when we hold hands. And I was like, so she's like, you should try. But I actually love it because I hate to say this is totally selfish. I don't know if you relate to this. Uh, People are less put off. They ask fewer questions than me limping in with my bad gait.
Hmm.
With the cane, they go, "Oh, you have a cane. Okay."
That's be interesting. Um, I know that my gait is um, is not normal,
Uh-huh.
uh, and it's um, my right hand um, usually would, without the stroke, would swing,
Mhm.
and the issue is I will think I should swing my arm, and I make it do it the whole arm by through the shoulder.
Hmm.
But I probably make about 30 seconds of doing that, and then I get distracted. And then it's back to the right is says laying them by the side, and the left goes, but it's holding the leash. So,
Yeah, yeah.
well,
Oh, dang. So yeah, your gait is very off.
oh yes.
Yeah, and I'm sure you get those questions.
I may, in fact, it's interesting. I'm introverted basically, but I welcome when they answer those questions instead of being silent
Yeah.
because they're still there. But when they ask out loud, we can enter in a conversation and I can explain some things. So it helps instead of them living inside themselves and they go away and they make up whatever they make up, but it probably isn't correct.
Well, if yeah, because if they don't ask it, they're answering it for you, and they're probably making it worse than it is.
Exactly.
You know. Well, yeah, because I mean that's because yeah, and you get, and then you start getting people who talk to you like, "Hi, how are you today?
Yes.
Are you doing okay today?" And you're like, "Yes, I'm fine, thank you." You know, I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. Has that happened?
Oh, yes. And in fact, when I talk, it's even worse because somebody's going, "Is he something's weird with his voice?" And but they don't. If they don't say, I don't uh, volunteer um, the information unless they ask.
Yeah, unless if they don't say what, yeah, absolutely. I mean, but I think that's and that's honestly, I will say this. And before I wanna talk, uh, well about uh, sort of looking back to what you might say to yourself. But this is where I find I love my job teaching because every first day of class, I let them know, hey guys, brain injury, stroke, got the cane. If I ask you to open the door, please, you know, you're going to be faster than me. And if my phone goes off, it's okay to laugh. Uh, I said this before, but my ringtone was given to me by a student. A student sang it to me. It's the first lines of Ed Sheeran's "Thinking Out Loud." The lyrics are, "When your legs don't work like they used to before." Uh, and like, it's okay to laugh, guys. But then I get to I get to set it out,
Sure.
you know, which is, but if you're seeing, if you're going back to the vet office and you're interacting with patients, like when you're out, I can see you can't set it up every time, right?
Sorry.
And you're all good.
You're right.
Well, yeah,
Yes. And when they when you do that, it invites conversation, which is so much better.
oh yeah, because I love to talk about it. Yeah.
Well, I do too, because it's an opportunity to tell others, potentially to prevent strokes, um, and or talk about recovery, which are very essential. And they're available to everybody. Um, but a lot of times, maybe people have the stroke or have other brain injury, and they think um, this is permanent. There's nothing is permanent.
Hmm.
It either gets better or worse.
Hmm.
Um, and but neuroplasticity is real and alive, and we can use it or we can not use it, and we lose it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and this is for me. I also have the joy of saying, and I'll speak to my personal religious belief is like what God has done through this whole thing. Oh, give me a chance. I'd love to tell you. You know.
Yeah. Yes.
So is that for you?
Hmm. And it's really, I thought it's weird, but it's not because it's my um, take on it. But um, I always had, I wasn't agnostic, but I was a casual
Mm,
believer.
mm.
And when I had the strokes, somewhere over those first 3 to 5 weeks, I was in the hospital, and then I went to the rehab place. But I realized God had given me a chance because I know I've done this research. 40% of people who have a stroke die within the first 2 weeks. And I was lucky enough to be in the 60% of people that live.
Mm.
And so I knew that um, God gave me life because I could find my new purpose. Uh, it took a little longer than I thought it would, 11 years,
Yeah.
but I at least had that belief that that I would find the purpose.
And did you so for you, that I guess you belief in faith, I guess that became active
Yes.
post
The other
stroke.
thing, um, instead of um, and I now go to a church not because I think you have to go to church.
Yeah.
I go because um, I interact with others who share the same belief.
Well, and it's and it is so necessary.
I think so.
Oh, I always that's my thing is like I go to church not because this is saving me in any way. That's done. You know,
Yes.
that's already done. It's already, you know, but I need my brothers and sisters.
Mhm.
For you, like did that give you because I guess and because I struggle I hurt for people who I guess don't have faith in these times. Did that help you with the healing process?
Yes, it did. And uh, because whenever I got in a dark place, um, then I realized um, um, this can be a temporary thing if I want it to be, because God doesn't want me to be there.
Yeah.
So if I stay, my business. Uh, God uh, doesn't interfere with my beliefs if I want to, but He would love for me to fulfill my true life.
Mm. And you knew like okay, I this dark place that surrounds me right now, you
Mm-hmm.
um, is not permanent.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. You are because that just comforted you to know.
Yes.
Oh, that's a yes. I mean, and so for you, um, I guess does that still play an active role?
Oh, yes, it does. In fact, before the COVID hit, um, well, we're using a small group Bible study,
Mm,
and in fact, it was because the COVID was in. Some people I knew reached out and said, "Hey, we're thinking we should put together the small group. We can um, meet out by the pond, which our church is about around a pond." They said it was May or April, I think. They said, "Hey, we can use the outside, so people that are concerned about um, um, infection, everything, you can deal with that.
yeah,
We'll be far enough apart and outside." So we did that, and um, it was wonderful because I have a little bit uh, different take on the COVID because I believe my immune system is good to is a top notch,
mm,
and it because all around us is bacteria, viruses,
mm,
um, um, and I can get exposed to a lot of them probably every day.
yeah,
Um, if I keep my immune system uh, working properly, um, then it will be fine.
mm,
And that has helped me. I don't I don't go looking for trouble.
mm,
I don't work in a human hospital,
yeah,
so those people have a different issues to deal with.
yeah.
Um,
We interact
and so
with the public all the time.
yes,
Yeah,
and I really the way I deal with the public is through the phone or the computer, and that's really safe.
yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, we don't have to mask up here. Uh, yeah,
no, we don't.
yeah. And so you connected. I guess you connected with them at the lake,
Ye- Yes,
and
and then in November we got uh, the church agreed to give us a big room, and so could do the similar, not the good, not the best, but we had a tall ceiling and a big space, and we could take a big we could shoot. We could have enough space between us,
mhm,
so weren't concerned about
that's great. That's awesome. Uh,
it. Yeah.
yeah, because I think totally necessary during this start time to have that church, to have those. Oh my gosh, have those relationships.
Hmm. Yes. And now we've been meeting for 2 years, and um, it's very helpful to see these people. We have a chat group, and at least almost every day there's lots of text here and there, and it's I'm grateful that I have this outlet connection
Mhm.
to people, and uh, it's wonderful.
That's glorious. That's awesome. Well,
Hmm.
I want to think before we got to get you to your life. I do want to ask you um, is two big questions. Uh,
Okay.
First is if you could go back and see yourself right after um, your stroke, what would you tell yourself?
Be patient.
Mm,
Often, even now, I often get impatient,
mhm,
and um, and I know that there is a process that I will go through. That it's important that patience is a part of it.
mhm.
you can't rush it.
Yeah,
I would say, I can rush it. And my other side would say, no, it's not. Take your time, be patient.
yeah, that it'll come when it comes.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah. It took me about. I thought in a year's time I would be so healed in such a place. Well, of course, denial, But then it took me about 12 years to really feel like, okay, I love myself with my injury. I wish it happened sooner, but you can't rush it.
And the other thing, in the New Testament of the Bible, Paul talks about uh, if God can take his sharp, I forget how he says it.
Remove
Uh,
the thorn from me.
yes, yes. And he would say that, and I would think, I would often think of that when I think of when I'm impatient. Remember, you have to remember patience is a virtue. So keep attempting to be patient.
Yeah, and I see this now, but the next part of that, my grace is sufficient for you,
Yes, that's so important.
and that that he was given the thorn for God's glory,
Hmm.
and your thorn, our thorn, is the same thing.
Hmm. And I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for myself. We have taken our gifts and we've put them out there to share them with others.
Absolutely, because that's what it's about.
Hmm.
Well, I do want to talk about this is I do want to talk before we get you on to your next live. I know you're a very popular man today, Brent. Uh, is I do want to talk about grief
Okay.
because it's something I always think about because my mom told me once that she said you have to grieve for who you were. And I think if you've had a brain injury or a stroke, you have to grieve.
Hmm.
And not that this is a linear thing, but where would you say you are in the grieving process today?
Um, it's interesting because these podcasts give me a chance to revisit
Mm.
um, places that I don't visit very often, and I realize even even in our time together, when I relived it, I realized it isn't quite finished
Mhm.
because um, I didn't wasn't crying, wasn't uh, that's what I think of classic, the grieving process. You got to have somebody wailing and
Beating the
crying.
floor.
Yeah, but some people do that when they go through the grieving process. I'm not, and I realized I used it. Um, I, um, I I remember I was definitely in denial and bargaining in the first few weeks, and then each time um, I needed to reach a decision: do I continue this way or do I do a different way?
Mm.
There was a form of grieving going on, and so. really what goes on now, um, there's a micro grieving process and the macro grieving process. And I think the macro is a little bit it's stable, so to
Mhm.
speak, but um, I can find I can grieve, maybe feel sadness um, uh, with something I used to have, but I realize now I won't. It's like snow skiing. I started when I was 10,
Mhm.
and I when I was after I was from veterinary school, I got to go out west and skied there, and I loved that. And um, so I used to do that a lot. In
Yeah.
fact, December before the January when the strokes hit, we went out with my wife's brother and his wife
Mhm.
uh, to Sierra Nevada, and we skied. I loved it, and I know that um, um, I'm not quite ready to grieve the loss of snow skiing.
Mhm.
I still say I'm going to ski.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm 62. Maybe it won't be in this life.
Yeah.
So um, I'm open to the possibility that I won't ski. But I know there's a lot of um, devices they can use to adapt the snow skiing experience, but I'm not ready to do that.
Yeah.
So here is an example of martyring, maybe in denial, probably more denial.
Uh-huh.
I still hold on to I'm going to go back to skiing.
Yeah, but yeah, you're that's something you're not ready to give up.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I understand. I that was driving for me for about 10 years. I'm not going to give this up. I tried to get back to it several times. And yeah, and yeah, it takes a and maybe you will ski, you know?
Who knows?
Who knows? I mean,
Um,
please be supervised when you do it though. Like please.
well, I will.
I said
And
after the fall, like Brett, we were worried about you. Yeah, don't be careful now.
yes. Um, and I always, I do um, hold on to my hope. There's a lot is being um, happening in the research of stem cells,
Hmm.
and I think maybe that will be the answer. Get stem cells, get my most of my motion back.
Yeah,
Who knows?
yeah, and then that might be able to get you to where you need to be.
So, but what's really great is even though that exists, I'm very much fulfilled with my life right now. I don't sit there and pine, oh, I wish I was snow skiing. I don't do that.
Yeah,
Um, but, I know that what I do today is very, very fulfilling.
yeah, well, that's glorious. Well, thank you. I mean, Brent, this has been a glorious interview. I thank you
Uh,
for all of your thoughts and your wisdom. Yeah, just I mean, glorious, glorious. Any final thoughts before we roll out the red carpet for you?
um, no, we can talk for hours,
Okay.
but we'll do it another time. Maybe we'll have a second session.
Absolutely. Well, we like to roll out the red carpet for you. How can we stay in touch with you? What do you got going on? Um,
Oh,
how can we follow you, keep in touch with you, see what you're doing?
sure. Um, the best way to get a hold of me is through um, three things. Uh, Instagram, my handle, I guess they call, or whatever, is Brent. underline Calhoun underline DVM. Uh, they can get a hold of me on Facebook uh, or on my website, which is www.success, the number four, lifetime.org.
Awesome. And then Facebook Live that everyone needs to be tuning into today.
Well, I do most Fridays at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Um, uh, I just do a question and answer. If somebody doesn't have questions, I have a short um, tidbit um, of something that they want to think about further recovery.
Well, that sounds glorious. Well, then, so everybody, very, very soon, every 4 o'clock, everybody need to tune in to Facebook Live uh, for to see Brent give his wisdom and answer questions. Um, well, thank you again, Brent. I really, really appreciate it. You've offered a great deal of awesome insight and advice today. So,
Well, thank you.
absolutely, you're most welcome. Well, I'm all about the snaps. That's what I do in my class. Is all the snaps of appreciation. Uh, and so yes, yeah, very nice, very nice. Well, thank you, Brent. I appreciate it, and I hope that you have a glorious day.
Thank you, Will.
Absolutely.
Goodbye.
Bye. Take care.